Okay, today on Conversations with Neighbours, we're sitting down with someone who represents what high performance and community truly look like. Marco is a former captain of the Canadian men's rugby sevens team, a Rugby World Cup competitor who played every minute of every game in 2003, Canada's Player of the Year in 2004, and in 2022, inductee into the Aurora Sports Hall of Fame. But beyond the international stage, Marco chose Aurora as home, where he has built one of the strongest rugby programs in the country, and he has raised over $40,000 for Easter Seals. I'm sure it's even higher than that, but we'll get to that. Today, we're talking about leadership, discipline, family, community, and what it really takes to build something that lasts. Marco, welcome to Conversations with Neighbours.
Thank you, man. Great to be here.
Okay, I want to start kind of before all the rugby. Who were you as a kid?
Who was I? I'm the youngest of four, two older brothers and an older sister. So it was a tough grow up in my house. A lot of fights with my brothers and things like that. I grew up just like anybody else. You know, played hockey in the winter, played soccer in the summer.
Yeah,
just kind of enjoyed life.
Why did grade 9 PE class kind of change your life?
Great teacher. I thank him for a lot of good things that's happened in my life. Peter Renzetti was my grade 9 phys ed teacher. And I guess one of the units you do in grade 9 phys ed was learn how to play rugby. And at the end of the unit, he's like, hey, I think you should come try out for this team. So I tried out for the school team that year. We had a decent season. Don't really remember much of it. But then he was like, you should go and you should try out for this Ontario team. And then it's just kind of everything snowballed from there. It was a fortuitous introduction.
Yeah, it's amazing how like those people kind of come up in your life and make such a big influence on it, right? It's just like that little recommendation of like, hey, you should try out for the rugby team.
Oh, yeah.
And then that kind of sets on this domino effect for the rest of your life.
There are, I don't sit in front of you today without all the people I've met in my life. And I'm so grateful for the community around me and the people that have helped me and inspired me to do things. It's been amazing. And yeah, it's inspiring, and it's just like bewildering to see like how one little decision can change the course of your life.
Yeah. So you that's the intro into rugby. When do you kind of see it turning into something bigger, right? Like we all go and play sports when we're in high school, but to then take it further and further and further and really dive into the whole sport.
Yeah, all throughout high school, I was, so I only actually ever played rugby for 1 year in high school, grade 9. Next year was a work to rule year, so there was none. And then in grade 11, I switched schools and my other school didn't have rugby. But I'd always tried out in the summers and played for Ontario. So I did that right through like U15 up until senior men's. And then again, another a little tie to Aurora. I met at York University a gentleman named John McMillan, who was an Aurora resident and actually a SAC graduate. And he ended up becoming one of our coaches. And he had gone out west to a program, the Pacific Institute of Sport, which was a legacy from the Commonwealth Games. And he had said, hey, you should come out here and you should play some rugby. So, we put together a highlight video and sent it out to the coach. And then again, like these little chance meetings, going to university, meeting a guy. Next thing I know, I'm accepted into this Canadian under-23 academy. And I'm moving out to Victoria, and then I'm just, again, it snowballed from there, right?
Yeah.
Like now you're on this Canadian sort of team, and you start getting noticed, and you put the work in, and good things come.
Yeah. What is this note of riding your bike into the city for practice? Tell me about that. Doing that.
So my rugby club was the Toronto Barbarians at that time, and I was growing up in Maple, and we only had one car as a family. So, and I being the youngest of four, if their car wasn't available, there was no car to be had. So a lot of times I'd have to just ride my bike down into Sunnybrook to rugby practice so that I could get there and then hopefully beg for a ride home so I didn't have to ride home.
Yeah. It says a lot about, commitment to it, right? And wanting to do it. Little obstacles pop up of like, oh, I don't have a ride to go to practice, right? But you just hop on the bike and go. How long was the bike ride?
It was long. It was not a short ride. At least an hour.
Yeah. Good for cardio training early and just
yeah.
a little bit of extra. So it progresses and then you kind of build this onto the world stage of rugby. What did it feel like wearing Canada on your chest?
That is a phenomenal experience. You know, I remember my first cap. So the first time I played for Canada was in Hamilton, you know, surrounded by all my family and friends, and just you run out on the field and like they're cheering for you. It's just like it's hard to describe it. It's just probably one of like next to my kids being born. It's probably one of the best emotions or feelings I've had.
Yeah. And Hong Kong Sevens, 50,000 people.
Insane.
What's going on in your head when you're just go out there? Now it's like, that's a lot of people.
A lot of it is, I hope I don't mess up. But you kind of, you notice it maybe when you're warming up and stuff, but once the whistle blows, it's background noise. You kind of drown it out. You're focused on the game, but like it is a phenomenal atmosphere. Yeah,
like that many people and that much energy, like all condensed into one area is got to be. I've never played in front of 50,000 people, so I can't imagine what it feels like.
No, it's great. And the run out there, like the lights and the crowds cheering, especially when you're winning and like you hear the crowd, you make a big play, the big ooh, you know, or a big hit. So no, it was great. I miss it. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think back at it and I miss it. I wish I would have enjoyed it more. But you know, you're caught up in the moment and you're concerned about other things, right?
And then 2003 Rugby World Cup, you played every minute. How does that happen?
Luck. I'm gonna say that luck. You know, knock on wood. Lucky I didn't get injured. Lucky I was playing well at the time.
Luckily, you rode your bike an hour like as a kid to go to practice, so you had the juice to do it.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was great actually. You know, just to be able to perform at that level and have the confidence of the coaching staff and the captains was phenomenal.
And so you're a player, you know, building up, but then you become a captain. Like, what's the transition of turning into like a leadership role on the team? Yeah,
I was always a very loud, outspoken person on the field. So part of it was the position I played. It was a position of leadership. And I guess like throughout my life, even playing hockey and soccer, I was typically the captain on the team. And so I guess the coaches noticed that quality in me. You know, it had its challenges because at that level now, I'm the liaison for the players to the coaches, but I'm also the liaison for the coaches to the players. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to manage a lot of personalities of high performance athletes who have different sort of needs. You know, we had this one particular guy on the team who loved to sleep in and miss breakfast because that was his thing, right? Practice started at 9. You know, he'd be at the field 5 minutes to 9 ready to go, and the coach hated it.
Yeah.
But I could understand, like, this is what he needed to perform. So it was a lot of back and forth. It was good. It was a lot of fun.
He was your Dennis Rodman, you know.
He was my Dennis Rodman. Really, yeah, that's for sure.
Talk to the coach like, this is what he needs. So just let him do his thing. Exactly. As long as he performs, right?
100%. And he was one of the best players on the team. So you kind of just gave him his space to do what he needed to do.
And on the leadership side of it, like when things aren't going good or like you're in a slump, is there any words of wisdom that you give or any tactics that you have for the team to kind of pull them out of it?
A lot of the time it's just lead by example. You know, if something needs to get done or you need to set the record straight, it's just, you know, do as I'm doing, not as I'm saying. So I was typically a leader by example. You know, you give the emotional speech or, you know, the rah, but a lot of it was like, this is what we got to do. This is how we're going to do it. Let's get it done. And I'm going to be the first one there, right? I always had this thing when we were doing fitness that, you know, even if I finished, I would always go back and run with the slowest guys just to show like, you know, I'm here with you. I'm going to run beside you. We're going to get this done no matter what it takes. And, that goes a long way for a lot of people, just to see you're not just finishing your work and then letting everybody else do theirs. You're there to help them and give them what they need to succeed.
Yeah. And like, so you've been in sport for a long time and been around a lot of athletes. What's the difference between good and elite?
I say, as you get to the higher levels of sport, everybody has the skill set. But what is going to separate, the proverbial men from the boys is your attitude and your work ethic, right? So who's going to come to training? Who's going to work hard every minute? You gotta put the work in. And we used to have this one coach who would tell us, it's not what you do when people are watching, it's what you do when they're not. And so that really hit home for me. And I just stressed to people, like, you can go out there and you can work as hard as you want at practice, but it's what you're doing after. Are you doing your nutrition? Are you sleeping properly? Are you in the weight room? Are you getting your head right? Mm-hmm. Right. A lot of sport is just being mentally in the moment and being able to function when, there's tons of pressures, lots happening. Just being able to dial in and get done what you got to do.
Yeah, it's like those. They're simple but not easy, right? This is like daily discipline. Right. Exactly. And like having that daily discipline, because that's what compounds over time. And that's where you get the big results in it. But it's so easy to kind of stray. And then it's like you slip like 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Now it's been a week, right? Where someone that has the daily discipline every single day, they're compounding the growth on top of each other.
Oh, yeah, man. And we're all like 21, 22, 23, 24. You're looking at your friends and they're out, they're having fun, and you're like, I'm going to bed at 9 o'clock tonight, right? Like, I got to get up tomorrow at 6. I got to do this, I got to do that. So a lot of that is just, I guess, staying away from sort of the temptations and just staying focused on what your goals are, right? And having those goals, like everybody has a goal. It's just, what am I going to do to achieve that, right? What's going to make me different from the other person? Yeah,
and it's such a great transition from sport to business. I look at business as a sport that you can just play forever, right?
Right.
There is no no end game to it. Talk to me about like the transition into business and your businesses and taking what you learned into that and then growing that company.
Yeah, for sure. Like, to your point, like, business is just a giant team, right? We're all trying to achieve something together. Especially in my business, being in construction or in the electrical field, I'm relying on my coworkers to complete tasks. We're just all achieving the same goal. So I find that a lot of those leadership sort of sport analogies, like with the guys, seems to work. We talk a lot about in our monthly meetings about, this is a team. What do we need to succeed as a team? What do you need for you to be at your best? How can we help you achieve that? So we lay a lot of that out, and it translates a lot. I'm in a pretty male-dominated industry, so a lot of the guys that are working for us have played sports, so mm-hmm. they kind of gel with it. They get that they understand that vibe, and at the end of the day, everybody just wants to do what they have to do, and get paid and go home, and we just try to facilitate that, right?
Yeah, it's like you're the liaison between you and employees and you and customers too, right? Like, it's the same as with the players on the field and coaches, like this kind of dynamic between all of it to make it all work, to get the best out of everyone, right? And have a good finished product.
100%. You're like a conductor at an orchestra, yeah. Right? You're juggling 5, 6, 7 different balls and just hoping that you don't drop any.
Yeah. And I know that you're big on like having really, really high standards. What does high standards look like in your industry?
We try to make sure that, and this is the message we give the guys, is that, like, you got to treat everybody as if you're going to your mother's house. So if you're not going to do it at your mother's house, don't do it here. And this is like the message we want to say we're putting forward. Like, treat everybody with respect, make sure that it is your highest quality, and like, give us your best, right? That's all we can ask for. You give us your best every day. We'll do our best to give you what we can give you. And carry on like that, right?
Yeah, and it goes to the same with working with your customers, right? Because, once you have a customer, whether it's a builder or, a residential, whatever it is, you want to keep them as a customer, right? Because, it's hard to get them, right? And having that care and effort going into that. So talk about like how you think about customers' long-term relationships. I know you're big on that. And just your thought process behind that.
Yeah, just always trying to service the customers. What can we do to help you? How can we make your job easier? We're typically working for builders versus end users. So, what processes can we put in place to make it easier for your supervisors so that that their life is easier? Like one of the things we did probably about 20 years ago was we kind of took all aspects of house wiring, which is our predominant business, and we kind of wrapped it under one umbrella so that the builder would only have to deal with one contractor. So it would make, less emails, less supervision. We just try to give them tools to make their building on a lot easier for them, right? And less supervision, right?
Yeah. And another element of your business is kind of the automation side of it. Talk to me about automation and the beauty of automation.
I love it. We walk around with a phone in our pocket that has more technology than they went to the moon with, and it's amazing that we don't use it to its fullest potential. I think that the way we're going in the future is where everything is going to be automated. To see houses that are interacting with the homeowner, where depending on where they are in the house or what kind of mood they're in, that certain music's turning on, lights are dimming, window shades are closing. You're adjusting the HVAC controls. It's again, it's back to that analogy of the conductor in an orchestra. Is the automation is just doing all of this for you seamlessly, and you're not even noticing it, right? One of the biggest things we're working on now is human-centric lighting, where we typically try to mimic the sun and our circadian rhythm. So, when you're waking up in the morning and you go to turn on your lights, well, they're not blasting at 3,000 Kelvin, which is 12 o'clock sunlight. We're opening them up at about 18 Kelvin, 1800 Kelvin, which is like typical sunrise. And as the day progresses, we're ramping up the light levels so that you hit that peak sunshine, 11 to 1 o'clock. And then we start dropping the light levels down throughout the day so that your body starts to calm down. You're into your dinner and your evening relax time. And a lot of that seems to help people, especially just be calm and sort of enjoy their space a lot more. And the light levels are like not harsh. So that's one of the newest things that we've been working on is this human-centric lighting.
I absolutely love that. I'm big on like circadian rhythm and just all that. So it makes perfect sense of like the progression of your internal clock and have your environment be matching it, right?
Yeah, like our bodies are under so much stress all day long. So you walk into your office and then you turn the lights on. They're these bright white lights. It's not a natural light, right?
Yeah.
And so your stress hormones are raging. You're just being bombarded all day. So if we can kind of tone that down, especially in the home, it just makes it feel more warm. A lot of it has to do with like color, so that we bring out the vibrancy in the materials that your house is built with. You'll spend so much money on floors and countertops and furnishings, but then we have this lighting that doesn't complement that, and so you lose a lot of the vibrancy of what you've put in your home. So we really try to maximize the actual experience of the homeowner in their house.
Yeah, and like that wind down to get a good sleep is so necessary too. Like you can't just be going from like these bright lights to like, oh, let me hit the sheets. Like your body and your nervous system is like, no.
Yeah. I have that talk with my wife all the time. I was like, we got to just turn some lights down. Let's have the lamps on.
Yeah. So let's talk about Aurora. Like why Aurora? What made you want to raise your family here?
Luck. I got to say, I'm probably one of the luckiest guys in the world. My wife grew up in Aurora. When we got married, we were deciding where to live. My friends were living in Toronto, and I was thinking, okay, let's go to Toronto. She's like, no, I want to go to Aurora. She won out, and it's luck. I'm lucky to have met her. I'm lucky to be living here. I love this town, and I'm very thankful to be raising my kids in this town.
Yeah. And so you've also gotten involved with youth coaching too. Talk to me about like that, the importance of it, why, and everything that kind of goes into that.
I fundamentally think we have an obligation to give back to our communities. Like, we live here, we're part of the fabric of this community. And then I want it to be a community that my kids grow up in. So I've always given back, no matter whether it was through, charities or coaching. For me, a lot of it is coaching hockey, coaching rugby, coaching anything that somebody asked me to coach. Like, I'm up to it. But you also get an opportunity to meet people, to meet kids, be a positive influence on their life. Like, again, like I said earlier, like, I'm not here today without all the people I met in my life, and I'm very lucky to have met some of these people. They're great people who, like we talked about, like a little nudge in a one direction alters the course of your life, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, if I think back of people that have influenced my life, like hockey coach, couple coaches, maybe like one or two coaches, like, has huge impact, right? Like, so it's so important to, once you recognize that has happened to you, to kind of give that back, right?
Oh yeah, and it's great to be walking through the neighborhood and somebody goes, "Hey, there's Coach Marco." Hey, yeah. Coach Marco, and you're like, "Hey, how's it going? Like, how you doing? What are you up to now? Where, what are you doing?" And it's good to just reconnect with people too, right?
Yeah, and so giving back to the community, giving back to charity as well. So we both competed in the Easter Dancing with the Easter Seals Stars, and you raised $40,000 for it, the most ever as a single individual. Talk to me about that experience of it and like what it meant to. It says a lot about like who you are and the network that you have to be able to generate that for such a great cause. So kind of that element too of it, and then as well the actual like learning how to dance, ballroom dance.
yeah. I think it was over 50,000.
Okay,
so
50.
I gotta pump the numbers up there. Yeah, like I worked with Andrea right from the get-go. And I just say, okay, this is what I want to do. Can we craft it? Can you make me a spreadsheet or a slide? And I'm going to hit my network. And so what I did was, right from, I guess it was probably beginning of August, I just started sending out a weekly email blast to everybody in my, my email list. And so, and then it just started with, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this Dancing with the Easter Seal Stars." And then, okay, here's my partner. This is what we're doing. And I just kind of reached out to everybody. And then I would tell the story of the ambassadors and explain their story to them. And just kind of, and then what happened was like, I remember for the first couple of weeks, I had like $250, and I think it was like week 4 email, one of the builders I worked for, they go, "We donated $500 because we saw that there was only 250 and I see that because I originally I had put my goal at like $10,000. Yeah. And then they're like, "We want to help you get to 10,000." And then it just kind of snowballed. As people started donating, I would just always call Andrea up and say, "Okay, you got to bump that number up to 15. Yeah. Okay, now put it up to 20." And I was, I don't know if it worked or not, but I was always saying, like, if people saw that, if our goal was $20,000 and we were at 18, they'd be more likely to help donate to get to that, that next milestone. And there were some fabulous people that stepped up with some big dollar donations, and like, it's a great cause. Yeah, like I think about the stories of the kids, and it's just like it brings tears to my eyes. Where they're so grateful to be able to go to the bathroom alone. Yeah. It's like things that we take for granted. I've never even had a thought about going to the bathroom. Like, it's just such a natural thing for an able-bodied person. And then, they're crying. They're telling you about the time that, the first time they had ever been away from their parents in their entire life was to go to a camp. Yeah. You're just like, oh my God, like my heart. So it was phenomenal. And then the dancing part, like, Anastasia is just like amazing. I probably have 2 left feet and I'm as stiff as a board. And, she worked with me. She helped me through it. You had her as a partner too. She was always so happy and bubbly and, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Think about it like this. Think about it like that. So it was a great experience.
How was, going out to do your dance in front of those people compared to, 50,000 people? What was scarier?
Definitely the dancing for sure, because I was so out of my element. This is so outside of what I'm used to. It was such a change for what I'm doing all the time. But no, it was great. Everybody was supportive. I'm glad that I pulled it off. Nobody got hurt during the making of it. So and the crowd was, the judges with all their support. Like it is, of all the things I've done in my life, probably one of my favorite memories.
Yeah, for sure. It's such a cool experience. And that night, I think we had the record of the most people there too. Like the tables on the dance floor, surrounding the dance floor too. I remember walking in there and seeing all the tables. I'm like, oh my God, look how small the dance floor is now. But what an experience.
It's top 10 in the memory bank. For sure.
So as you're kind of going through life and have all these experiences and continue to build it, what are some of the things that you want your kids to learn from you, from watching you?
I just hope that they're inspired to go out and try anything that they want to know, there are no limits. If you work hard at something, you can achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. It's one of the things I always tell my kids and the kids I coach. It's it doesn't matter the outcome, as long as you went out there and you tried your best and you gave it everything you had. The rest is out of your control.
Yeah. And this is kind of a tougher question, but it's what, when people describe you, maybe when you're not in the room and they're talking about you, what do you hope they are saying about you? What are you trying to give out to the world?
It's a good one. That he's tough, but he's fair, and he is a role model.
Yeah. I think it is a tough question for someone to answer, but I think even your question, or the question before of what you hope your kids all those elements too of it, of you're just leading by example constantly, just the way that you did on the rugby team, right? You're talking about yourself as a leader, by example, right? And I think the way that you show up in sport and with business too, and then now in the community and getting involved in all these elements, it's just don't listen to what I say, watch what I do type of thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, and there's always this line from this Bruce Springsteen song, Thunder Road, that just plays in my head all the time. It's the door is always open, but the ride ain't free. And it's constantly in my head, there's always an opportunity. There's always something that could be done, but you got to go. You got to do it.
Yeah. Got to put in the work. Okay. Thank you so much for being on the show.
It's great.